What is your reaction to this brutal attack on the Congress
Well,
Chhattisgarh
it
team?
was a cold and calculated carnage. It was a carnage aimed at the Congress party. It was carnage aimed at our democratic system, our democratic values. And clearly the Maoists see the Congress as a political threat. Our strategy for dealing with Maoism has four main elements. There is a security and police element, there is a political element, political mobilization, there is a developmental element which is focused on development programs for the tribal communities particularly, and there is a justice component in order to ensure that justice is done to tribals on matters of land, forests, water, livelihoods and so on, because they have not always got the justice. And obviously the Maoists see the Congress party as a great political threat, and there are elements who don't want to see the Congress come back to power in Chhattisgarh, because Nandakumar Patel was most dynamic PCC chief and had transformed the Congress in the last 2 years. And he was going to the people. You know, he was having arm sabhas, he was having meetings with workers, he was having meetings with people. Remember, southern Chhattisgarh is a liberated zone. There are large parts of Bastar, erstwhile Bastar, Bijapur, Sukma, Dantewada, Kanker, Narayanpur, where you have 8,000, 9,000 square kilometers where the flag, Indian flag cannot fly, where the Sarpanch does not go, the BDO does not go, the SP does not go, the collector cannot go, the politician, ministers cannot go. These are liberated zones. How can you have, which political party, which country, which government, democratically elected, can accept a situation where in the heart of the country you have such large areas, where you can't go? I mean, when I was Minister for Environment and Forests, I wanted to go to the Indravati Tiger Reserve, because one of the few tiger reserves that I have not been to. I couldn't go to the Indravati Tiger Reserve because the thing is now a liberated zone, and it's hardly 25 kilometers from Bijapur. So, in such areas, you will require very strong, very tough security action. But I want to make one point on the security, which is that the local police has to take the front. The local police has to be in the front, because they have access to information, they have access to intelligence, they know the local geography, the topography. In Andhra Pradesh, which is the success story we have had on rolling back the Maoist challenge, it's when the local police took the responsibility, the greyhounds, were raised, a special elite squad was raised, that in Andhra you began to see a substantial transformation which enabled political activities and development interventions to take place.
What about the role of the CRPF? How do you see?
No, the CRPF is a supportive role. We are a supportive role. When I went to Bijapur and Sukma, I asked the collector and the SP of Sukma, how many police do you need? They said, we need about 3,500. How many do you have? 1,200, 1/3. So you can have 10,000 CRPF guys, but you're not going to make a difference, because the local guys who know the topography, who know the geography, who know the forests, who know the families,
the ground level
information. CRPF is there. They do the special operations. The Operation Anaconda, which liberated Saranda, or the operation that liberated Jungle Mahal in West Bengal. These were done by the CRPF. It was done by the CRPF in collaboration, consultation, participation, coordination with the local police. So let's never underestimate the value of the local police. The tragedy is that in Chhattisgarh, in Orissa, in Jharkhand, the local police has not been in the forefront. It has not been as active as it has been, say, in Andhra Pradesh.
So you'd say the Chhattisgarh government has not done enough in this regard?
The responsibilities are that of the government, If we had been in power and if such an incident had taken place, we would have had to take the responsibility, It's the government of the day that has to take the corona. And the Chhattisgarh government has been in power for 10 years now, So the state governments have to be much more proactive in terms of policing. And the central government is there. They provide funds for development programs, they provide funds for infrastructure programs, they provide police personnel and paramilitary troops, personnel whenever they are needed.
So Jaranji, what about the development angle that you've been pursuing in that area very vigorously over the years? How is that going to get affected by these violent incidents?
As Rahulji has said, we have to persevere on this road. I saw one of the first statements that Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, and very rightly so. He said, look, we cannot be deterred from the path of political engagement. We cannot be deterred from the path of developmental activities. We cannot be deterred from the path of having security operations, and we cannot be deterred from the path of ensuring justice to the tribal communities. The four-lane highway that I spoke about, the security lane, the developmental lane, the political lane, and the justice lane. You cannot get out of that. But this incident is certainly a shocker. I mean, it's an incident of unprecedented, unparalleled ferocity. Brutality. And the issues that the Maoists raise are not the wrong issues. Let's be very clear. You may disagree with the issues, but the issues are important. The Indian state has not delivered development to tribal communities on the scale it should have. But the methods that the Maoists have adopted are completely condemnable and are unacceptable in a democratic system. They should come and contest the elections. They should fight our elections. In Mizoram, Lal Tenga fought the Indian state and became chief minister after 25 years. Look at Assam, look at Punjab, look at Tripura. So you have instances where India, the Indian state, the Indian constitution has accommodated people who were yesterday's militants, or Jammu and Kashmir, another good example. We have a member of parliament, Kameshwar Baita from Palamu in Jharkhand, representing the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, who was a former zonal commander of the Maoists. He has come over ground. So I think the doors of dialogue are always open.
So there's a place in the mainstream.
There is a place in the mainstream for everybody. This is what democracy is all about, different views.
You can have opposition.
Different perspectives, but you adopt the path of dialogue, reason, argumentation, debate, not the path of terror, killing, brutality.
One thing I heard you say on another channel was that you think the Maoists have moved away from their original ideology and now it's...
I don't find any ideology any longer with the Maoist movement. It's extortion, it's levy based. The more money we spend, the more money they'll extract. Politicians can't buy peace. The Congress party can't buy peace because we have a role to play. And that role is to use politics and political activity as a vehicle for addressing the grievances of the people. And the grievances of the tribals are real. The grievances of the tribal are extensive. Tribal deprivation, tribal discontent, tribal disconnect is a reality. But I'm afraid the methods that the Maoists have adopted are simply unacceptable to us. My private secretary, who was kidnapped by the Maoists in Orissa in February 2011 for 10 days, was abducted by 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds. These guys now are recruiting kids. Baal Sangams, they call them the Baal Sangams. So, this is a threat to the Indian state. This is a threat to Indian democracy. It's a threat to the Indian way of life. It's a threat to Gandhian values. It's a threat to Nehruvian values.
So do you think this calls for a stronger military response?
I wouldn't say military response. I would say a security response, a police response, paramilitary response. So security operation has to be selective, targeted, focused, proactive. Operation Anaconda liberated Saranda after 12 years, 13 years. It was focused, it was selective, it was targeted, it succeeded, and now we are making Saranda a laboratory, a showpiece for development. It would not have been possible without the security success.
You've been involved with these areas in different capacities as Minister for Environment and now for Rural Development. What do you think is the change among the people with government policies coming in those areas?
Well, I must admit to you that in places like Sukma, Bijapur, Malkangiri, Gadchiroli, people are still afraid. They are caught between the devil and the deep sea. They are caught between the Maoist devils and the deep sea of the paramilitary forces and the police forces, and guns on both sides. You collaborate with government, the Maoists bump you off. You talk to the Maoists, you come under suspicion of the police. It's difficult to be a tribal in these areas, or difficult to be anybody in these areas, but particularly a tribal. So there's fear, there is a lot of hesitation. It takes a lot of time. It took me 2 years to get a response from people in Saranda. First time I went, silence, whatever I said. Second time, maybe 10 fellows. Third time, a little more. Sixth time when I went, very interesting. Fifth time when I went, I raised the national flag after 12 years in Saranda. But the sixth time I went was most interesting. I was met with a demonstration of people, 200 people carrying placards saying that there are electric wires and there is no electricity flowing through the wires. There are schools and there are no teachers. So the police tried to, keep them far away, and I said, don't interfere, let them do what they're doing, because this is democracy at work. When people are agitating for what they feel and what they rightly feel are their constitutional rights, it means that democracy is beginning to work. These are people who could have taken on the gun. These are people who could have come and been the cadres of the Maoists, but now they are adopting a different road. And I think that gives me hope.
So you think there's a change, but the change is perhaps...
No, there is change. No doubt there is change. We have examples in Bengal, I mentioned to you, parts of Odisha, parts of Jharkhand, parts of Chhattisgarh. In Bijapur, when I first went in October 2011, out of 157 Gram Panchayats, Narega works could be done only in about 80 Gram Panchayats. But when I went last week, out of 157 Gram Panchayats, 111 Gram Panchayats Narega works were going on. 2 years ago, there were no rural roads being built. Now we have sanctioned 33 rural roads. 12 roads are being built in Bijapur.
So new villages are being added every month.
New villages are being added. People are coming out. People are getting wages. 25 crores are the Narega wages in Bijapur district alone. People getting money. Not into bank accounts or post office accounts. Getting into their hands. This is money, cash. So, things are happening. But there are big issues that we have to address. Issues of forest administration, issues of mining, these are all big issues which we have to address. Land acquisition, how do you acquire land? How much land do you acquire? How much R&R? How much compensation do you pay? There are these big issues.
So do you think the opposition stalling these issues in parliament, stalling the bill, does that affect?
Yeah, I wish we could have had the land acquisition bill, because after the Forest Rights Act of 2006, the strongest pro-tribal measure our government has taken, or any government could take, is to have this new land acquisition act, which will replace a draconian 119-year-old act. I hope that we'll be able to get this done in the monsoon session of Parliament. I think the message that I want to give is that the Youth Congress, political activists, yes, it's natural to feel dejected and demoralized after this carnage. I am. But we cannot go back. This is a road that we have taken. Political engagement has to intensify. That is the role of the Youth Congress activists. Development interventions have to intensify. That is my responsibility. And political interventions and development interventions have to go together. So, we have to go to the people. We have activists, political activists, Youth Congress workers have to be. I was happy, I saw a lot of Youth Congress guys when I went to Bijapur last week, along with the Parivartan Yatra. And they have to go out to the people, and they have to be the channel through which the grievances are communicated to the government at the state or at the center. That is when the Maoist stranglehold will be broken. It's because political parties are not doing their job that Maoist organizations have filled the vacuum. And if political parties are going to be strong, they're going to be active, they're going to be transparent, they're going to be honest, I don't think Maoists stand a chance, frankly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.